Good afternoon. Welcome to this week's edition of the Risk Safeguard Advantage podcast. I'm John Bielik. Hope everybody had a nice weekend. I want to apologize in advance for the glow coming behind me here. As much as I'd like to believe it's not my aura, it's not a halo. It is the spring sunshine that we've all been longing for up here in New England the past several weeks, and I hope it's here to stay. And with spring weather comes a productive economy, a productive season ahead, until we smash right into the wall of the world that we live in today, which is inflation, stagflation, labor shortage, supply chain challenges, fuel inflation. The world is stacked against business leaders and owners right now. And I posed the question a few weeks back, who feels like a lemon? And I'd say that's everyone who's responsible for running and leading companies right now, because no matter where you turn, you're looking at challenges. So I want to have a genuine conversation with you all today about your workforce, your human capital, and maximizing the return on that human capital. Because my opinion, that is the way to gain a competitive strategic advantage right now. The playing field is relatively level. Everyone's dealing with their own versions of headaches right now, but everyone's dealing with them. So in any competition, whether it's sport, business, you name it, when you're playing on a level playing field, you have to think differently than your competitor to outsmart them and win the game, or the overall competition for who is best. If you asked employees right now who feels engaged by their employers, 35% in the United States is the answer. I believe a large part of that is the world we've been living in the last 24 months. Leaders are focused on keeping the lights on and the doors open of the business, and not spending as much time focused on their employees and engaging with them as we probably should. We've read things about the Great Resignation, the Great Reshuffling, employees leaving jobs in droves, job hopping in droves. I just posted an article earlier today that talked about the hidden resignation. Employees who have remained at their employment for the last 24 months, but are not as productive as they should be, or could be. That is a reflection or a manifestation of several factors, one of which is everybody has their own version of stress in this new world that we live in. But if employees don't feel that their employer cares about them, how hard do you think they are going to work? And that's a question everyone needs to look in the mirror and answer truthfully for themselves. Are you engaging with your employees and showing them you care right now? Because that's your opportunity. That's your opportunity to take the workforce that remains working for you and maximize their productivity and maximize your return on that human capital. Most employers are too busy fighting the fights in front of them right now to step back and come up with a strategy. And without data, our strategy is just guessing, right? So if we're going to develop a strategy to maximize our human capital, we need to know why we should do that. For employers that are getting this right, and this is according to Gallup, for employers that are getting engagement right, their workforce is 18% more productive in terms of sales, 23% higher in profitability. And something we focus on very heavily here at Sinclair is 64% less likely to have workplace accidents. Now, that last statistic's interesting because another study shows that someone who's been exposed to a moderate amount of stress is 40% more likely to have a workplace accident. And risk managers are being tapped by C-level executives right now and being given access to the C-level suites because companies are figuring out that if they have a good risk management strategy for their companies, they're actually growing and making more money than those that don't. Because risk management, all it really is trying to predict the outcomes of decisions and their financial impact on the company. And if there's going to be a negative financial impact on the company, trying to prevent that from happening or making a different decision. That's all a risk manager's job is. If you peel back all the layers of the onion and everything a risk manager does on a daily basis for their employer, they are trying to look at their crystal ball, look at the strategy and direction of the company, and say, are there things that we are going to undertake as a company that will have a negative impact on our financial performance? So if you overlay risk management over your workforce, what is happening today in your organizations that could have a negative impact on your workforce? So it's going to have a negative impact on your workforce or your human capital. Guess what? It's going to have a negative impact on your financial performance as well. That's why there's typically a direct correlation between companies who focus on workplace safety and their bottom line profitability. And it's one thing to focus on profitability by cost cutting measures, which everyone is prudent to undertake, especially in times of challenges like this. But if you're sacrificing growth in order just to maximize profitability, what does that mean 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the road? Because as we see, costs are just continuing to go up for mid-market companies. So I want you to think about decisions that you are making as you lead people, lead your company, and think about the impact that they're going to have on your workforce. Furthermore, does that decision send a message to your workforce that you care about them, their loved ones, their well-being? Or does it do the opposite? Because right now, if you are sending messages to your workforce that you do not care about them, that is what they believe, and that is what they feel, and that is what is causing them to show up and not give a damn at work, and therefore you're paying them to not be productive. So I leave that challenge to you at the end of this podcast. What can you do differently in your strategy of engaging your workforce that makes them want to come to work, it makes them want to be productive, it makes them aligned with your objectives and missions as an employer so that you're all on the same team and you all now have an advantage. Have a great week. Go out there, engage your workforce. Make sure you care about them. Make sure you're keeping them safe. Take care. Report back on the results. Have a good day.